I'm continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. Right now, last video I began chapter 15 in 2 Samuel. I will finish the chapter out in this video. We have just had Absalom's conspiracy and uprising against David, and David has fled Jerusalem to protect the people of the city so that they are not fighting in the city. So we continue, we pick this up in verse 19. Then said the king to Attai, the Gittite, Wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. Whereas thou camest but yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us? Seeing I go whither I may, return thou, and take back thy brethren. Mercy and truth be with thee. And Attai answered the king and said, As the Lord liveth, and as the Lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. And David said to Attai, Go and pass over. And Attai the Gittite passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, Zadok also, and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up, until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king said unto Zadok, Carry back the ark of God into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again, and shew me both it and his habitation. But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here am I. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. The king said also unto Zadok the priest, Art not thou a seer? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. Zadok, therefore, and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. So like this, David, he tells the one guy, Attai, and his men, go back to the city. You're not in danger. You should stay in your homes. Be safe there. And the guy says, nope, we're going with you no matter where you go. And so David says, okay. And they all head out. It says they cross the brook Kidron. They're going east from Jerusalem. I think they're kind of going northeast out of Jerusalem. But again, Zadok and Abiathar are the priests, and they bring out the ark because they are loyal to the one that God has anointed king. And they believe, the ark should stay with the king because he is the seat of government. He's the head of government. But David says, no, take it back. That is where it belongs. And if God is merciful to me, I'll see it again. But he also kind of puts them back as spies. He says, when I get word from you guys that it's safe for me to return, I'll come back. You guys wait there for me and let me know when it's safe for me to come back. And so they took it back. Here we go, verse 30. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet, and wept as he went up, and had his head covered, and he went barefoot. And all the people that was with him covered every man his head, and they went up weeping as they went up. And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount where he worshipped God, behold, Hushai the Archite came to meet him with his coat rent, and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest on with me, then thou shalt be a burden unto me. But if thou return to the city, and say unto Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hitherto, so will I now also be thy servant. Then mayest thou for me defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. And hast thou not there with thee Zadok and Abiathar the priests? Therefore it shall be that what things soever thou shalt hear out of the king's house, thou shalt tell it to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Behold, they have there with them their 2 sons, Ahimaaz, Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abiathar's son. And by them ye shall send unto me everything that ye can hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came to Jerusalem. So this is an interesting one. See, David leaves the city because he doesn't want there to be a fight there. He wants to protect the people. And if he leaves with all of his men, all those who are die-hard loyalists, you might say, these are his soldiers, his warriors, they all leave. And he's saying Absalom can come in and take the city. He's giving it to him, basically, because he doesn't want the fight there. He doesn't want the people, the civilians, to be caught between the 2 armies. But at the same time, he is setting up a network of spies so that he knows what's going on and he can plan accordingly. So Hushai is sent in to become an informant. He's to insinuate himself into Absalom's inner circle. And then he reports to Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, because as priests, their reputation is secure. David does not think, and he's probably right, that Absalom will not do anything to the priests. At least at this time, the Israelites were still very much respected and reverenced the priests as they should. And so they, whatever you hear, tell the priests, they'll send their sons out to tell me. And so we have this network of informants, network of spies and informants, so that David always knows what's going on. The one thing that David does actually fear, that he's worried about, is Ahithophel. Because Ahithophel was a great counselor. He was a very wise man. And we will read later on, it says that his words were like the words of an angel. You know, he knew what he was talking about. And so he's worried about that. He's worried that Ahithophel will actually be a great help to Absalom. And that's one reason he sends Hushai in, is to undo the counsel of Ahithophel. To counter that, to give some way of preventing that counsel from taking hold and giving Absalom that advantage. Hushai is there to counter the advantage of Ahithophel. So now we have our nice civil war story here. It's building up. But we do see that there is the question. If David had reinstated Absalom when he first came back to Jerusalem, if David said, welcoming him back with open arms, brought him back into the court, maybe not made him a ruler, but brought him into the court, would Absalom have started this conspiracy? Would he have rebelled? Would he have tried to take over the kingdom? It is a question that we will never really know the answer to. There are some people who say that he probably wouldn't have, psychologically speaking, he would have been satisfied. He would have been satisfied, but I think it is actually very likely that he would have anyways, when we consider his petulance, that he kind of lashes out whenever he doesn't get his way. So we'll leave that here and pick it up in chapter 16.